he can all the way off.
Yeah.
RFK Jr.?
He can all the way off.
There's nothing good that's going to happen with this crazy man. And Elon Musk is an idiot too.
Everybody deserves to be healthy, whether you agree with the politics of our country or don't.
Has to be one of the grossest jokes pulled on the American public ever.
He's going to send them to these camps and make them all work on the farms. Like, you can quote me, all the way off, RFK Jr.
What's going on, everyone? James Klug here. The day has finally come. RFK Jr. has officially been confirmed as the Health and Human Services Secretary now. How are people feeling about this? Today we're going to find out, but before we do, if you are watching this video and you have not yet subscribed, please consider hitting that subscribe button. All right, let's go talk to some people. Huge shout out to our friends over at Patriot Coolers for sponsoring this video. I'm talking to people about RFK Jr. getting confirmed, HHS Secretary, Health and Human Services. You're excited about it?
Yeah, man. I mean, you got these yellow 40, red 40, blue 1, yellow 5 dyes. Like, just a lot of crap in our food, and it sucks to see. And truth is, if we just do the right things, we're going to be healthy. So I absolutely support it. Yeah. Make America healthy again, baby.
I'm feeling so good about it.
Make America healthy again?
100%.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Definitely. We're banning tasty treats in America.
I think he's just right for Trump.
Just right for Trump?
Yeah, he ought to be Trump's personal physician.
Are we not excited about RFK being HHS Secretary?
Well, I think it's just...
There's a lot of mixed views here. You're not alone.
Don't worry. It's an absolute abomination.
Would you like to weigh in?
Bad thing.
Terrible thing.
No, that he can all the way off. Yeah.
RFK Jr.?
He can all the way off. Yeah.
Hey, why don't we like RFK Jr.?
No, because he's a completely, yeah.
You should take the interview, though.
Are we not? We're not ready to make America healthy again.
Oh, off.
How do we feel? Any thumbs down? Okay. Sir, how about you?
He's a nut.
He's a nut. Why is RFK Jr. a nut?
Because he doesn't know anything about nuts.
He doesn't know anything about what?
Nuts.
Nuts? So he's a nut? Okay. Do you mind if I ask you why are you not happy with the confirmation?
Because he's a terrible pick.
What makes him a terrible candidate in your view?
Almost everything.
Yeah. Specifically, I mean, like...
Nothing about him that's right. He's a lunatic.
Yeah. Number one goal for RFK Jr. being a part of this administration, he's talked a lot about it on the campaign trail, has been basically attacking the childhood chronic disease epidemic. Are you on the other side of that issue?
Yep. The science will prove him wrong. So have a good day.
Why do you think it's an abomination?
Well, I think he's anti-science. I think he's a conspiracy theorist. And I think his judgment is way off. He's not a medical doctor. He's not a scientist. And yet he's going to run our health system. Has to be one of the grossest jokes pulled on the American public ever.
You said bad thing.
Of course it's a bad thing. He has no qualifications.
Yeah. Why do you say that? Why?
Because he
what
has
does he not qualify
absolutely no
for?
medical qualifications. Zero. And he has crazy theories. Now, if you want to make vaccines safer, I'm all for that. But this anti-vax stuff, worm in his brain, I mean...
We're hearing that. We keep hearing that.
Well, but he's got a lifestyle that isn't like his father's.
Medical experience. Previous HHS secretary, was a lawyer, not a doctor. Is that a problem? Was that a problem for you?
Were they involved
Xavier
in healthcare?
Becerra?
At all? You don't have to be a doctor. You involved in healthcare? Do you know healthcare at all? Did you work in healthcare? That's actually more important than being a doctor. What does a doctor know?
Being completely honest, man, I'm not someone who's gotten super into politics.
Okay.
I know a ton about RFK's background, but I just look at a person and the way they present themselves and the way they present their ideas, and a lot of things he's saying makes a lot of sense. Yeah. And he sounds like every time I've heard him speak, he's coming from a genuine place, and he again wants to see America be healthy. Yeah. So, man, I just think it's very sad that people are stuck in this mind loop. I mean, I come from a good, loving family, but my, mom, stepdad are both like very on the left, and I've had to try to have this conversation.
What do they think about RFK Jr.? Have you talked to them
about that? I haven't asked them about it, but every time I try to talk about Trump, it just goes nowhere.
So we're talking to both sides today, and really, it's funny because when people are anti-RFK Jr., a lot of the conversation is around vaccines. Now, this administration, Trump administration, has made it pretty clear, at least so far, that they are not looking to, get rid of vaccines or anything. What they have said is more studies, more research, more transparency. Would you be in favor of that if that were to be the case?
First of all, Donald Trump is a moron.
Well, you guys have seen it. Lines around the block of those big box stores, only to culminate with women fighting, all for the latest color drop of those TikTok tumblers. Patriots don't have time for all that nonsense. We have a country to make great again. Skip the line in potential fights and support a company that supports your values with Patriot Coolers. Patriot Coolers was founded with a commitment to give back, donating over $500,000 to homes for our troops. From their sales, every purchase helps support veterans in need. Not to mention, these coolers feature a striking design with 50 stars and 13 stripes, embodying the spirit of America and honoring our nation's heroes. These bad boys are built for the battlefield, not e-girl social media reels. Their tumblers and coolers are designed to withstand rugged conditions while also being perfect for everyday use, like going to the range or interviewing people in the street or sitting on a bench. Sir, what do you think about that?
I think that
Or any of your other favorite-based activities. You can even take your cooler or tumbler to the next level with in-house customization available, allowing you to add a personal touch or brand it for your team or events. They offer a 10% discount for military personnel and first responders, showing their appreciation for their service and sacrifice. Visit patriotcoolers.com, and if you're not in the military or a first responder, use code JAMES for 10% off your entire order. Support companies that love our country as much as you guys do. Hit that link down in the description below. All right, let's get back into this video. Obviously, today's topic is RFK Jr. getting confirmed as HHS secretary, talking to people that are pro and anti this. You're clearly anti. Thanks for coming back. Why is that? What's going on there?
The man has no qualifications for the job. He had a brain worm. He caused an outbreak of, I forget, measles, right, in Samoa. So he supports anti-vax, which in any town there's a small pocket, especially this one is a liberal town. Yeah. We have a small pocket of people who are anti-vax, right? So what happens if those 25 people who all belong to the same church decide he's right and so none of these new kids are going to get vaccinated? So now the old people are at risk.
Well, everyone that will get the vaccine, I mean, the vaccines are effective, right?
No, it's herd mentality. You will get sick if you're exposed.
Without a vaccine?
No, even with a vaccine, because look at COVID. You got a lower risk if you had the vaccine, but you could still get it. Well, there's 38 people today in Texas as the largest measles outbreak they've had so far in the last 25 years. Just watch. I talked to a guy last night who he said he's probably 70. The most pain he's ever felt was getting shingles. And he's a Republican. He's voting for that moron.
Do you mind if I ask you? Because we hear a lot, it's funny because it seems like two different conversations are happening, right? People that are RFK Jr. supporters.
Is just one, by the way.
Of course. But to talk about that, I mean, this seems like the primary argument from folks that don't like RFK Jr. is the vaccine position.
The high risk. It's the highest
risk. But it seems as though they're not talking about doing away with any of these vaccines.
Yeah,
and the administration, they haven't said that they were going to be doing that.
They're just flooding the zone, right? They're throwing all this crap out there, but now it takes one mommy saying, or our head of the school board, our idiot that just got elected, he's like, well, my granddaughter's now doing the research because vaccines are dangerous. The head of our school board.
Should there be more research around vaccines?
No, there's $1 zillion in research around vaccines.
A lot of them are funded by big pharma companies and all that.
Yeah, of course. Who pays for it? But how
do you think do you support the idea of just more transparency, more unbiased studies and research around vaccines, or no?
I support smarter research among people who are conspiracy theorists because it's all out there. Now, of course, the vaccine for cancer that doesn't pay as much isn't getting the love that the vaccine for the fat, people reducing their fat is getting, because that's where the money goes. But it doesn't mean that either vaccine's bad. It's just that the money flows to where the money is.
I mean, primarily what they've been talking about, I'm just telling you what they've been talking about, has been more research around vaccinations, all of that, more transparency with the research.
It's completely made up. Like if you told me right now and gave me an assignment, said, show me where they hid research about XYZ. We have standards. I have friends in that business. Now all those standards are out the window. It's a long process to get approved for a vaccine. It's all conspiracy. And this idiot in that job as HHS, the conspiracy is just going to fly. That kind of crap. It's just so maddening. It's so maddening.
Do you mind if I ask you about the other side of the argument, which is going to be, I mean, the primary focus?
The uninformed one. Go ahead.
I'm just telling you the primary focus for RFK Jr.
There's no focus in that administration. Go ahead.
Okay.
None. Zero.
Yeah. Is tackling the the childhood chronic disease epidemic that we're seeing in the country right now. 40% of children in the U.S. have a chronic illness.
Yesterday he said he's
are you
No.
on board with tackling that?
No, he makes up these numbers. First of all, half of the people.
That's a correct.
Right.
I fact checked that number. That's correct.
Right, but what chronic illness is not going to be solved by him sending them to gulag camps for health. That was just yesterday's comment. He's going to send them to these camps and make them all work on the farms. Like, you can quote me, all the way off, RFK Jr.
His people he's bringing in are worse than his first term. I would not trust anything they do. Research is fine if you're open to research, but they're not. He is doing performance politics, and all these cretins that he's putting in to the cabinet are the same way. They want a reality show, get him a damn reality show. I don't have to watch that, but I have to live in this country.
We've gotten a lot of pushback today, but I want to know for you as a supporter, I mean, what are you excited about when it comes to RFK Jr. being HHS secretary? Is there anything specific,
Yes,
or do you feel like it's just in the
absolutely.
good direction?
So everyone in the hearings, it was so focused on his stance on vaccines and what caused autism, and a lot of like the autoimmune issues with our children that we're seeing. And to be honest,
Do you see that as being a big focus
100%.
for the movement?
Yes.
Because
So-
I haven't heard too many people talking about their goals for vaccines aside from research, more transparency around that. Do you think that they are going to be getting rid of vaccines?
I don't know if they'll be getting rid of them, but I think it's worth, like, why can't we ask the question? Why can't we look? Like, why can't we find out? Like, let's see. Like, that was all he wants to do, is just do research, whereas it has been, you can't sue anybody, you can't look into it. Like, we just want transparency so we can make a choice.
Number one focus for RFK Jr. He's been very public about this, tackling the childhood chronic disease epidemic in the United States. You have 40% of children in the United States with a chronic illness. 60% of Americans have at least one chronic illness. And I want to know your thoughts. I mean, with this track record, that's why they have the saying, "Make America Healthy Again." Would you support them tackling this when it comes to food, diet, policies, all that stuff? Would you support them going after that?
So when Michelle Obama was trying to get people to eat healthy, nanny state, the point is,
So you're saying you support it?
I support all that stuff, but here's what I tell people that like RFK Jr. Donald Trump will not let him do anything that Donald Trump doesn't want. You're in the wrong administration. So all this stuff, but you see how they're cutting jobs. They're cutting funding. How are you going to, they're cutting cancer research?
They cut about 3,500 jobs from HHS. There's about 90,000
How's that
employees,
gonna help?
80,000 employees.
How's that going to help? And if they cut the FDA, how's that going to help? See, what they're saying is things that maybe people, oh, that's not so bad, but are they going to back it up with money and people? No, they're not. There's nothing good that's going to happen with this crazy man. And Elon Musk is an idiot too. So I'm just saying,
You're just not happy across the board. I'm curious what you think about the goals that they've been talking about when it comes to, do you believe or do you think that they'll be effective in tackling the childhood chronic disease epidemic that we're seeing in the country? Do you hear him talking about that? Do you support anything that he's doing? Or are we thinking this is just going to be one big nightmare? What do we think?
I guess you could say in any nightmare, there's got to be some redeeming episode. So far, we haven't seen that episode, but we're going to see the nightmare. I don't know what he's going to do about chronic illness in children or adults for that matter.
What are you most worried about when it comes to RFK Jr. being HHS secretary? What worries you the most? Would you say specifically, I guess?
That people will agree with his views. That is the most worrisome thing, that there are people that are going to follow his views and make all of us a sicker nation. That's what I worry about.
We look at the numbers and stuff, and you're like, okay, one big problem that the United States is having right now is our health. We're the sickest we've ever been. We spend the most money on drugs we've ever spent. We consume the most drugs. And, 70% of child's diets are ultra processed, 40% of kids have a chronic disease. What have the experts before this been doing to get us on the right track in your view? What do you think?
Well,
So that's a big argument there. Is
it's
like,
a big
a
argument.
lot of people are saying, oh, well, these experts have done such a great job, except for things are totally out of control.
Yeah.
What would you
No,
say to that?
That's you bring up a good point, and I don't think previous experts have been doing enough. And I guess we can blame the industrial food system in our country. And
A lot of these studies seem to be funded by them, pharmaceutical companies. I mean, it just seems as though, I definitely see where people are standing from, and I think a lot of people see where people are standing from, like, hey, RFK Jr., a little nutty, has said some crazy things. Is it time to shake things up? Maybe if it's not him, is it time to shake things up when it comes to leadership at the HHS?
Not in this manner. This is a useless shaking up. It's a shaking down.
So we're talking about RFK Jr.'s confirmation. Now, to be fair, we'll be fair with the viewers. You did mention you don't know too much about this topic. However, you feel like you got somewhat of an opinion. Let's hear it.
Somewhat of an opinion. Based on what I know, well, I've heard a lot about him as a person, his views. I think that our country's health has gone to shit. And I think that just solely based on what I've heard about what he wants to do to our food industry, and particularly processed foods,
Dyes, additives.
yeah, and all those things, I think that is good, because we used to be one of the healthiest countries on earth, and that has completely gone away.
Sure.
And I think that's largely because of what we're putting in our food. And I don't think it should be as hard as it is to be healthy, because I think we do live in a beautiful country and we're very fortunate, so we should have access to good, clean foods that keep you healthy, opposed to what he's saying, which I do agree with.
Right. No, I mean, you bring up a good point there, and I think that's just like, look, that seems pretty bipartisan, that position right there when it comes to cleaning up our foods. A child's diet in the U.S.,
Right.
70% ultra-processed
Yeah.
foods. I mean, that's obviously a massive problem, and it's obviously creating more issues. I mean, when it comes to insane healthcare costs in the U.S., a part of that reason is because we are so wildly unhealthy. Maybe not even by choice for so many people. It's just what options are available.
Exactly,
People don't
that's
even know.
exactly what I was saying, yeah. I think that you go to the store and it's good to read labels, but I don't think you should have to spend that much time on it, because I think there should be reassurance that what you're putting in your cart is good to begin with. And I don't think that organic foods and grass-fed foods and pasture-raised eggs and all these things, I don't think those should be premium. I think that should be the baseline for people, because everybody deserves to be healthy, whether you agree with the politics of our country or don't.
When it comes down to it, I mean, we talk about RFK Jr. not being qualified for the position. The people that have been qualified for the position over the last, several decades, we've gone from childhood obesity being 30% of the population having it. 50 years ago, it was less than 1%. So what have they accomplished that's so great and so worth defending over the last several decades that you're saying do not be shaking things up now?
No. Okay, so let me tell you what's wrong with healthcare.
Do you understand my question?
No, I do, but I'll give you an analogy. You know who number one problem with healthcare is? People don't take care of themselves.
Right.
We get all this information.
Majority of it's going to be food, diet issues,
and
all
diet
that stuff.
too. We all know the government gives us great information on this stuff, but they're not going to force you to do it. It's all up to the human being. So if you don't like the price of groceries, okay, then why are you buying groceries that hurt your health? Oh, I'm worried about price of eggs. Then why are you buying candies, cakes and creams, Snickies and Snackies, which is bad for your health, bad for your diet? I'm just saying people will not do the hard things. They won't exercise. Oh my God, they're on their phone the whole time. They don't want to do anything that's inconvenient. They'll take Ozempic. Okay, if you're chronically obese, Ozempic is fine for now. But people won't do we're not obese and we're old. Why aren't we?
I got a question for you. When it comes to children's diets in the United States, and this seems, I run into people that are liberals and conservatives, they agree with this stuff. Look, 70% of a child's diet in the United States is ultra-processed foods. Should that be at the forefront of the argument when it comes to, hey, healthcare is really expensive? Well, it's probably because everyone's super severely unhealthy in the country.
Malnourished.
Would you support this administration, RFK Jr., putting that at the forefront and tackling that?
I would support any administration that would, but it's not going to happen because people don't care. Oh, I'll get some pharmaceuticals. No, that's not the solution. People, okay. And
If it does happen, would you say that was a successful job from RFK Jr. as HHS secretary?
I would say he's doing his job if he did that, but
you don't feel like he's going to?
well, he might. It's just that this administration is not going to push it. Look how unhealthy they are. And people are not going to push it. So if you had kids, would you let your kids eat all this processed stuff?
No.
You got a farmer's market down the street here. You can go there. People will not let it happen.
I mean, since becoming a parent, like, all of that has become way more in the forefront, and like vaccines and all of that are all a concern. And it's just like, I think we all just are craving more information. Like, we all just
transparency.
Want more, yeah, transparency, and just like, I would like to be able to make better, more educated decisions for my kids. And it's really hard to do because a lot of times at the doctor's office, they're just like, oh, well, this is the vaccine schedule, or this is like what we recommend, and that's it. Or like, this is the medicine that we recommend, and that's it. And then as you like learn more, and I guess like you go down rabbit holes on the internet, and you're like, oh, well, actually, if I could also do this or do that. And I think that's one thing that RFK is promising, I guess, is that he wants to make things more transparent and make things more available for parents.
Yeah, that's one of the primary focuses. The other is obviously food and diet, like kind of policies around that.
Yeah.
I actually grew up with like what would be known as a crunchy mom. Like
Sure.
it was before it was cool. Homeschooling,
Like in the
all
90s,
that
they
good
were like
stuff.
hella homeschooled, like weirdos.
But still are.
Weirdos raising some of the healthiest
But like
kids,
now,
probably.
but like
you know?
now it's totally normal.
It's come to a point where the internet has allowed people to do enough of their own research and to be able to see that there's been a massive problem, and especially COVID woke so many people up to just their health because there was a crisis, and it was like, okay, these are the people who have a higher possibility of getting sick and comorbidities, and so everyone wanted to get healthy, you know, just for that reason, to stay alive,
Yeah,
right?
it seems like a lot of this movement has really been sparked because of 2020 and what was going on,
100%.
for sure.
Yeah.
And a lot of the Maha movement has been parents being like, okay, well, you know, they lied to us about these things. What else are they lying about? What's going on here? And a lot of it's sparked. It seems as though a lot of the movement is moms, right? Looking after their children, making sure that they're eating healthy foods and putting good things into their bodies. What are your thoughts about that?
Yeah, I mean, when you're faced, we kind of almost had like a mass trauma event as a country and as a world. Like, all of a sudden, you're forced with to think about your mortality. It kind of made everyone think about their health, and like everything skyrocketed with trying to keep healthy and you know, exercise and watch what you eat. And I think it was like a wake-up call to a lot of people.
What is your biggest worry for this administration? Just as somebody that's obviously opposed to RFK Jr. being the HHS secretary.
Okay, so he's not going to be strong enough to stand up to Trump. So NIH, defund. Okay, RFK's not going to do anything about that. He's had a life that...
Is defunding, you're talking about getting rid of, not like
getting
full
rid
defund.
of it, or just cutting. They're going to cut everything they don't like.
Right.
I mean, look what Trump eats. So he doesn't care about health. So he's a cockroach. So what I'm saying is RFK... I have a friend who believes in RFK Jr.
Right. There's a lot of people we're talking to that believe in him.
But the problem is he's not going to have the power or the persuasion to be able to do that.
It's one of the most powerful positions in Trump's cabinet.
But Trump doesn't care about health. Trump is going to do performance politics, it's red meat for the MAGA people. And RFK's not MAGA. But he sold himself to get this job, and I don't respect that.
Do you mind if I ask you, though?
Yeah.
And maybe this is putting you a little bit on the spot, but what is your basis for saying that Donald Trump won't allow him to do any of these things if Donald Trump made it a priority to give him control of CDC, NIH, and also is encouraging them to put tackling the childhood chronic disease epidemic as the number one priority? What is your basis for saying that Trump doesn't care about it?
Career? The guy is a con man. Every business he's done has failed, except for conning people to give him money or buy his stuff. So my point is...
Every single business Trump's done has failed?
Everything has failed except for being a politician. He's made a lot of money being a politician. His golf courses are losing money. His casinos lost money. He lost his father's inheritance. Then he got the...
Being a politician... He doesn't take a salary for being a politician.
Doesn't matter. Do you get emails from him asking for money?
I get emails from both parties asking for money.
Not asking for money for the party, buying his merchandise.
Oh.
Okay, this guy is a con man.
Because he sells merch?
Now, he sells cheap merchandise and people will buy it. That's legal. I mean, it's legal. It's just that
So to answer the question, I'm sorry to cut you off, but to answer the question, the reason why Trump is not going to give RFK Jr. the power, the control to tackle these important issues is because
he never
sells...
has anybody before. You remember his first 4 years? You disagree with him?
Very well.
He cut you off at the knees. It doesn't matter who you were. This time, he is picking people that are afraid to cut him off at the knees, and there you go. It's not going to work. Well, Rick, they may have a cabinet. No, they won't. And look at the cabinet first time versus this time.
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness. Proof's in the pudding. This guy has never done anything in his life other than inherit money. He had a stupid TV show on NBC. He made money doing that. The point is, this guy, I have never seen someone as screwed up emotionally. He is totally corrupt. He's not going to let anybody do anything unless he wants them to do that. That's why he brought in these people. And Elon Musk is going to milk him for all the benefits Elon Musk can do. That's how you have to praise this man. You have to kiss his ass. He's crazy.
What would you say to people that are saying that RFK Jr. is not qualified for that position?
I see where they're coming from. He doesn't come from a medical background. He's a lawyer, but he fought for things related to healthcare for a long time. So it doesn't bother me. Smart people. I heard you talking to someone. She just kept calling me an idiot. I think he's the opposite of an idiot. I think he's a very smart guy. You don't have to agree with everything someone says for him to do a good job at a position.
He's an environmental lawyer, so I mean his whole career has been studying chemicals and their effect on the environment and our health. Yeah. So I think he's absolutely qualified.
Your message to people that are excited about this, they're excited about making America healthy again, your message to them.
I hope it happens. Absolutely would love it. It would shock me to death, but it would be a wonderful shock at a time when I'm extremely pessimistic about the future of this country. If that would help, I'm sorry, RFK Jr., you're wonderful. You're like your father.
You're going to be a huge supporter if they are successful.
If he's successful, I would love RFK. I love his father.
I think it's been a long time coming. I think you can look at trends all the way back to the 50s and what people call the second agricultural revolution, when we did start to process things, and the introduction of GMOs, regardless of whether we can prove those are bad or not. And it's been downhill slowly. I mean, you can pinpoint...
Something's not right.
Yeah. You could pinpoint what he said about, I think it's butter, that when people started to stop eating butter and fats, our obesity rates went up. I'm not a doctor, I'm not a dietitian, but you can look at a graph like that and interpret it and say something's wrong.
The easy answer can be more transparency, more research, more studies to let the American people know what on earth is going on. And studies that aren't funded by big pharma and stuff.
Exactly. And I think to your point about the pharmaceutical companies, I think it is multifaceted because I think our country is very privatized. And I think there's money to be made in the grocery industry, pharmaceutical industry. And when people are making money, it's hard to bring an issue to the forefront and solve it because money does talk. But I feel, I don't know him on a personal level.
It's okay.
But I feel that RFK seems genuine in wanting to fix that problem, and I do think that's good.
I think when his movement just, starts to bear fruit and people actually start to become healthier, it's like when you see the results of it, you just can't deny it, right? And obviously this new administration is very new, and hope to see good results.
All right, everyone, that is it for today. So you guys, we had a lot of strong opinions. Let me know what you think down in the comment section below. How do you feel about RFK Jr.'s confirmation? And if you guys enjoyed this video, please make sure to hit that like button. Make sure to subscribe for more videos and hit that bell notification button so you are notified next to my post. And I'll catch you all in the next one. What are your thoughts about RFK Jr. getting confirmed? Good thing.